Hey there, it's Rock Your Life with Ariane Alexander. I'm so glad you're here with me today because I'm super excited. Today is a coaching day where I actually have a client on the phone with me today who I'm interviewing, but actually doing a coaching session with so that you can hear in real time what it's like to be coached through your challenges with a coach like myself. And I want you to follow along as if these are your own challenges, your own issues. Because when you can really put yourself in the situation with the person that I'm coaching today, who you are going to love, she's amazing, that what helps is when you walk yourself through what I'm doing with a client, then it's gonna help you with your own issues as well. And it's gonna help you clear your own blocks. Because what I found in years and years of being a life and business coach is that we kind of all have the same problems. They kind of all boil down to a few specific things that we'll definitely dive into in this session today with my beautiful friend Kristin. So we're gonna dive right in. I have with me today the most delightful person, one of the best people I know. Her name's Kristin Sweeney. She's actually a client of mine in my Lights, Camera, Cash video marketing program. So I've been working with Kristin in supporting her in creating her video marketing and really getting her message out there and being confident on video through my Lights, Camera, Cash program. But I offered her a chance to be a coaching client today with life coaching on this Rock Your Life with Ariane Alexander radio show because I thought it would really support her in moving through some blocks that she's having. So we're going to hear directly from Kristin around what her challenges are right now. And I'm gonna coach her live. I don't know what I'm gonna say. I don't know what we're gonna get into, but this is real life coaching and it's so fun to hear it. So again, I want you to follow along as if it's you and we're gonna have a good time. All right, let's get going. So hi, Kristin. I'm so glad you're here.
Hi, thank you for this opportunity.
Oh my gosh, you're so welcome. It's cool. I'm glad you're doing this because we've never actually coached one-on-one since you've been in my group coaching program for Lights, Camera, Cash. I've gotten to know you this year, but we've never actually coached one-on-one. So I think this is going to be really fun for you today. Okay, cool. So Kristin, I want to give a little background of you and you're going to give me more as we go through. But let me just say to everyone listening, okay, she's one of the most inspiring people I know because Kristin was born deaf. She did not hear properly until she was 19 years old. She did not get hearing aids until she was 19 years old. So for 19 years with a hearing disability, she walked through the planet not being able to hear people properly and people not being able to understand her because she couldn't hear properly. Then the speaking was a little, a different way of speaking, let's call it, than what we're used to. So until she was 19, she never actually heard anything. And she has a really great story about hearing her own footsteps for the very first time. So she now, fast forward to today, she has a thriving life and business. She's a preschool teacher teaching darling little kids, or maybe challenging little kids, however you look at it. And she's a Zumba teacher, and she's really getting her message out there to others with hearing disabilities to stand in their own power and be confident. And I'm just so proud of Kristin for standing up of who she is through these actual challenges that she's had in her life and how she's spreading her message in a powerful way now. So today, Kristin, I wanted to hear from you. What is actually, would you say, is a big challenge in your life right now?
A big challenge in my life right now is, come to think of it, still, when I do my Facebook Lives, playing back my voice and hearing my own voice.
Okay, cool. So you do your Facebook Lives and you hear your own voice, and what comes up within you?
I'm not good enough. Nobody's going to understand me. Yeah, that's a big one. Nobody will understand me, and they won't listen, and they won't get to hear the very important message that I have.
Okay, so when you do your Facebook Lives, and really let's just call it in essence, you're putting yourself out there, that you feel like you're not good enough, you feel like no one will understand you, and that no one will listen to what you're saying and won't hear your message. Is that accurate?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So with what Kristin's doing, so she's doing Facebook Lives every Monday. She does a Facebook Live called Confidence Corner with Kristin, and she's sharing her experiences of having a hearing disability, again, in service to others across the world, which is, millions of people that have hearing disabilities. So she's really putting herself out there in a powerful way, especially coming from a place of having a hearing disability and not being heard, for many times in her life properly. And now she's really putting herself out there and being visible in supporting others and being a leader in this place. So it really makes sense that you would have these thoughts come up that no one will understand me and they won't listen to me and they won't hear my message. And the other one that you said, if I'm not good enough, what I've found working with clients for so many years is that is one of the prevalent beliefs that almost everyone has running. I mean, it's crazy how much all of us have that I'm not good enough running. So we'll definitely dive into that. So when you think these, that you watch yourself on your Facebook Live, you play yourself back, you have these thoughts within you. And what are you telling yourself? So example, when you have the thought, no one will understand me, what are you telling yourself about yourself in that moment?
Again, I'm not good enough. My speech is horrible. I wish I could have better speech.
And how do you feel when you think those thoughts about yourself?
I think, oh man, why am I doing this if I think this way?
Okay, so you think my speech is horrible. I wish I had better speech. Why am I doing this? And if you were just to put it into terms of, I'm upset because fill in the blank. I'm upset because what?
I'm upset because I'm not quote unquote normal.
Oh, that just makes my heart hurt. I'm upset because I'm not quote unquote normal. Okay. So one thing that I like to do is just really drill down to the basic level of the upset so we can actually see what's going on. So it sounds like that's the kind of core upset is I'm upset because I'm not quote unquote normal. Is that accurate? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And how long have you felt this way, Kristin?
Probably my whole life.
Yeah, I can really understand that from having a hearing disability at such a young age and in the world that we live in, not being fitting into that world that we live in. And it's interesting because even that word normal is a made up word because it's a word that we have created to create acceptance in our tribe, in our group. And we'll talk about a few things around this, but I can see how you would feel not normal because the world is set up to be, have hearing and have seen and, the world is set up to not have disabilities basically. So the world would look at that as quote normal. And I love that you said quote normal because it doesn't, because, it's what's normal. There is no normal, but we live in a world that's set up in a way that we perceive what's normal. Okay, great. So what's a moment that you have really felt this, I'm not quote unquote normal?
I'll take you all the way back to when I was in grade school. I had this friend, we were really close, and then she became friends with quote unquote popular girls, and lo and behold, we weren't friends anymore because I was in one of the popular crowd.
Yeah, and as a young girl, I can have so much empathy of how that would feel so awful.
Yeah.
Yeah. What did you feel at the time?
I felt not good enough. Something's wrong with me. And I felt like, okay, well, I don't want this person in my life anyway. If she's gonna be somebody, a fair weather friend.
Great. So you felt not good enough. You felt that there was something wrong with you and that you didn't even want this person in your life anyway because she's such a fair weather friend. Yeah. So this place of feeling not good enough, and let's just call it not normal, and that there's something wrong with you, these are beliefs that have been picked up along the way. When we're born, when you're a little tiny baby and you're first born, like you don't have these thoughts. We're just born in our fullness as this beautiful soul coming into the planet. But then along the way, we hear things and we experience things from our atmosphere, from collective consciousness, from our parents, from our siblings, from our friends, relatives, whatever, and we lock them in as truth. So at a very young age, these belief systems get created within us. And then we just think they're real and we keep playing them out over and over and over again. So I like to think of it as like a groove on a record. Some people listening might be too young to know what a record is, but back in the day we had records and records have a record groove. So what happens is when you start thinking the thought that there's something wrong with me, when someone says it or you get the whiff of it, even at a very, very, very young age, it can get locked in so quickly. And then we think it over and over, and then we create a record groove in our brain that something's wrong with me. So then if we believe that, then our consciousness and unconsciousness is going to play that out over and over again to prove it. So let me explain this. Your consciousness is like the projector at the back of the theater. So when you're in a theater watching a movie, you're watching the movie on the screen. Let's say you're going to see Wonder Woman 1984, which you're not going to a theater to watch it, but you're watching it on your TV screen at home, right? It just launched Christmas Day. So you're watching Wonder Woman 1984 on your TV at home. You're watching it and you're thinking that's the movie. You know, if you're in a theater, you're watching it on the big screen and you think that's the movie. But what's actually happening is that at the theater, there's a projector at the back of the theater that's actually projecting that image onto the screen in front of you. So what you're seeing is an image. It's the same thing when you're watching it on TV. It's not on your TV. It's, the device has projected it into your TV. It's not actually playing out on your TV. So what happens is that's our consciousness is the projector at the back of the theater. It's projecting out our experience of life onto the big screen of this movie screen that you're watching. So what happens is when you're young, this thought and belief gets locked in that there's something wrong with me and I'm not good enough. We think it enough times, it becomes a belief. It's like a record groove. And then we project it out onto the screen in front of us. So then we walk through life seeing where we're not good enough and seeing where there's something wrong with me, proving it to ourselves, because the ego and the consciousness wants to prove our beliefs are true because we're creating them anyway. So we're always going to prove it to ourselves. So if I believe something is true, I'm going to do my best to prove it to myself over and over again. Because if I can't prove it, then it confuses me. And I'm like, wait, what? That's not what I thought or believed. So what happens is you're going to walk through life trying to find proof and playing out the experience that something's wrong with me over and over again to continue to prove it to yourself that it's true. And it's just what we do. Our ego is involved, our consciousness is involved, our unconscious is involved in this game of proving our beliefs and thoughts. Even if they're not true, we're going to prove that they are true because that's what we think. So, Kristin, does that resonate with you?
Absolutely, 100%.
Can you see in your own life where you've played this out over and over again?
Every day.
Every day. Every day. Wow. Okay, I just got chills because this is what's so beautiful about this work, the work that I do as a coach, is you have the opportunity to shift this. And you can really create a different experience for yourself around this thought that there's something wrong with me. And do you recognize a possibility that you can shift this into to free yourself from this, basically?
Sure. That's part of the reason why I am doing Facebook Lives, because I want to get this message out there that everybody has their own voice and you can use it, and no matter if you're quote unquote normal or not, you have a voice.
Yeah, I love that. Whether you're quote unquote normal or not, you have a voice, which is so true and so powerful. Okay, so we've gotten to where we're kind of, we have the thoughts and beliefs that we can shift now of basically that something's wrong with me and I'm not good enough. So we're going to take a quick break and we're going to come back and we're going to really dive into this, and I'm going to support you in shifting out of this. And the great news is the possibility is to shift out of this for good, to really heal this and release this once and for all for good. So how exciting is that? So we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. This is Rock Your Life with Ariane Alexander. And be sure to check out some of our other shows. We have the St. James Radio Hour, which is an awesome music show that you will love. So be sure to listen to that. And also be sure to check out my friend Pili Montilla's amazing show called Truth and Tunes with Pili Montilla. She is a music insider. She is a producer and host extraordinaire of all kinds of awesome events and TV shows. And she's an Emmy award-winning producer and TV host. That was a show that was all about the music industry. So Truth and Tunes takes you with a deep dive of guests and artists and music and behind the scenes with some really, really cool people that you will love to listen to. So check out Truth and Tunes with Pili Montilla. Something that I've been loving that I wanted to share with you is coral toothpaste, because I don't know if you know, but some toothpastes are bad for you. So I like things that are super natural and good for you. And coral toothpaste is an all-natural toothpaste that does not have fluoride. And so it's actually good for your teeth. And I love it. It comes in all cool flavors like orange, which is kind of crazy, but I think your kids will love an orange flavor. And mint, of course, which I love, and like a berry flavor too. And it comes in regular toothpaste form, and it also comes in this travel size foam, which is really cool too when I'm on the road to have this foam toothpaste, which is something fun and unique. So be sure to check out Coral Toothpaste. It's just at Coral, Coral, toothpaste.com. And I thank them so much for being a sponsor of Rock Your Life with Ariane Alexander, because I actually use the product. So I love it. I'm so happy to share it. And this is Rock Your Life with Ariane Alexander. We'll be right back.
Fun for Life Radio, because there's no fear when you're having fun.
Okay, if you're back just listening in, this is Rock Your Life with Ariane Alexander. I'm talking to one of my delightful clients, Kristin Sweeney, today. She's in my Lights, Camera, Cash group coaching program that's all about video marketing and helping you be more confident in your videos for social media, for your website, for anything you're doing with videos in today's world. And I've never actually coached Kristin one-on-one, but today we are diving in. Kristin was born with a hearing disability, and she did not get a hearing aid until she was 19 years old. So she's gone through a lot of life with challenges in being heard in a powerful way and also hearing in a powerful way. And what we've boiled down to her challenges is that these thoughts and beliefs that she's not good enough and that there's something wrong with her, which I'm sure you can relate to. Have you ever had the thought, I'm not good enough? Well, that's a trick question, because of course you have, because every single one of us has had the thought, I'm not good enough in some situation. I find with most of my coaching clients, this is a big one. And have you ever had the thought that there's something wrong with you? I know I have, in areas of life where I've been challenged over and over again. I'm like, oh God, there just must be something wrong with me. So the great news is most of our issues, when we really boil it down, are pretty universal. And that's why we can all relate and have so much more compassion and empathy for each other. And so just follow along as I continue to coach Kristin around these thoughts and beliefs and shift out of them into something more powerful, and substitute yourself in here as we walk through. Okay, Kristin, so hello again. So we boiled down, like I say, to there's something wrong with me and I'm not good enough. And talked about how these thoughts and beliefs get locked in. So can you see how somewhere along the way, you were born, let's call it whole and complete, and just in your joy and in your awesomeness. But somewhere along the way, somebody said something or you experienced something where you started thinking there's something wrong with me. And of course, it makes sense with the hearing disability that that's going to happen because you're not being able to be heard properly. As you can imagine, as a baby, when you can't hear and then you can't communicate, that there's this disconnect and this challenge. So somewhere along the way, it got locked into your consciousness that there's something wrong with you. So the good news about thoughts and beliefs is they're just thoughts and they're just beliefs, because we have over 80,000 thoughts a day. And if we believed all of them, we would go insane. If we even listened to all of them, we would go insane, trying to follow 80,000 thoughts and beliefs a day. But with thoughts, what happens is we think them so many times, they just become this pattern, and then we make them important. So now you said this still happens every day. So when you can really start to understand that they're just thoughts and they don't actually have to mean anything, that you have just bought into a belief along the way, like you bought into that thought that there's something wrong with me at a young age probably, and then just started to believe it. But that doesn't mean it's true. So let's just kind of look at that thought, there's something wrong with me. And again, if you're listening along, think about your own thought, there's something wrong with me. So let's just take that thought by itself. There's something wrong with me. Is it true?
No.
Yeah. So when you really sit and meditate on that, there's something wrong with me, and you say no. And tell me a little bit that's such a firm no. Where did that firm no come from?
Because I know in my gut that I'm different, but that's what makes me unique. That's what makes me me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And we're going to take this a step further, because what if you're not even different? Do you see, this world has created, our world, the illusion of our world has created what we call normal and what we call, what's normal and what's different. And again, you somehow bought into the belief along the way that you're different. And what if you're not different? I mean, the thing is, like, what if normal is everyone with a disability and everyone without a disability? We have just in our culture separated that as human beings as like normal and not normal, different and not different. But do you see, what if that's all made up?
Yeah, I guess I just mean different in the sense that when I was younger, my speech and my hearing and everybody else had, they could hear, they could speak without having a problem.
Yeah, I hear you. So that experience created these thoughts that your speech and your hearing is different. Yeah. So again, these thoughts get locked in. So I'm not saying that you don't sound different. What I'm offering is, what if it's not different? What if we have made up as humans? Why don't we all sound different? Because we do. We just have bought into this belief that we should sound this way. And then you came along and you sound your way, but we call that different. Instead of just being like, oh, everybody sounds like they sound. Everybody looks like they look. Do you see, there's this kind of, in our collective consciousness society, we want to separate things. And one thing that I'll offer to you is that sun shining down, which I call soul, spirit, God, universe, sunshine, trees, whatever you want to call it. The sun, life shining down on you, God shining down on you, universe shining down on you, trees, sunshine shining down on you. They don't look like, the sun shining down on us doesn't look at your speech or my speech as different. Do you see? It doesn't look at your weight or my weight, or the way you look or the way I look, or that your ethnicity or my ethnicity, or your sexual preference or my sexual preference. It doesn't look at any of that differently. It's all one. It's all neutral in the eyes of God, of spirit, of universe. It's only in the human form that we separate it, that we say, oh, the way Kristin speaks is different than the way Arian speaks. And one of them's okay and one of them's different. One of them's normal and one of them's different. One of them's, good and bad. One of them's not wrong and one of them's wrong. But you see, universe life doesn't care. It's like, oh, people talk the way they talk. Cool. So can you see, again, I'm just offering to you where you have bought into the belief of the human form that says anything about you is different.
Yeah, I can see that.
So let's go back to this thought about there's something wrong with me. So when I asked you and what we're doing right now is we're walking through the work of Byron Katie. I love the work of Byron Katie because it's so simple. It's just 4 questions. And the first question is it true? And when I said, is it true that something's wrong with you? And you said no. And the second question, if you were to say yes to that, second question would be, can you absolutely know that it's true? And it's only a yes or no question. We don't have to do that with you because you've already said no. But I love the work at Byron Katie. Everyone can look it up. It's just at Google Byron Katie or thework.com. And it's so simple because it really just gives us this meditation on thoughts. So the third question is, who would you be without this thought? Well, let me do a different question first. How do you feel? How do you respond? How do you react when you think the thought, there's something wrong with me? How do you feel? How do you respond? How do you react when you think the thought, there's something wrong with me?
How do I feel? I feel terrible for thinking that about myself. I feel stressed when I feel that. I feel anxiety ridden. Mostly I just feel that's my ego talking to me, blocking me from what I want to do, which is get my voice out there so others could hear it and realize that no matter what, they can do anything.
Yeah, girl, exactly. Okay, good times. So when you think the thought, there's something wrong with me, you feel terrible about thinking it, you feel stressed, you feel anxiety, you feel like it's blocking you from doing what you're really here to do. Right? So I think you think the thought, there's something wrong with me, and all these other thoughts come up that are just like dragging you down the rabbit hole. Okay, cool. So it's good to acknowledge that. And who would you be without the thought? So if you could not think the thought, if it was impossible for you to think the thought, there's something wrong with me, who would you be? How would you walk through the planet? How would you talk to people? What would you be like?
Well, for starters, I would be more confident in myself. I would go after the dreams that I have without sabotaging myself and saying I can't because of this or because of that. Yeah, I would just go after anything that I wanted without being not good enough.
Great. So if you didn't have the thought running, there's something wrong with me, you'd be confident in yourself. You'd go after your dreams without sabotaging it and thinking you can't. Oh my gosh, how delightful.
Sounds great.
Yeah, sounds great. Let's do it, right? So here's the good news. You can. I mean, you see, these are just thoughts. It's not even real because you've just said, we said, is it true? You said no. It's not true that there's something wrong with me. And then when you think about how you feel and respond when you think that thought, it's like stress and I feel terrible about thinking it and I have anxiety and I'm sabotaging myself. So who would you be if you did not have the thought running? Instead of be confident in myself, I go after my dreams. I wouldn't sabotage myself. I wouldn't think I can't. So great. So let's turn that thought around. Let's start really, this process of the work of Byron Katie is really about inquiring and then shifting our thoughts around things and turning it around because you get to create this new point of view and you get to live in this new point of view. So what's a turnaround for the thought, there's something wrong with me? What's a direct opposite of that?
I'm exactly who I need to be.
Yeah, and let's do it in the same type of words because this is where our mind can start to really understand this. So if the thought is, there's something wrong with me, what's just the direct opposite of that?
There's nothing wrong with me.
Yes, there's nothing wrong with me. So can you give me a couple of examples that are true to you that there's nothing wrong with you?
I have a group of friends that accepts me for me. My 4-year-old students accept me. And they love me just the way I am. And those are basically the top two.
Great. So where you can see it's true that there's nothing wrong with me is that you have a group of friends that accept you exactly as you are. And you have these delightful students who love you so much and love you for exactly who you are. So you get these reflections that there's nothing wrong with you. Okay, great. So let's do another turnaround on there's something wrong with me. So we just want to start turning this around into different ways of, looking at things. So what's another turnaround for there's something wrong with me? What's another way to shift that point of view a little bit?
I don't know.
Let's play with it a little bit in kind of in a general sense of So if there's something wrong with me, what about everybody else? What if there's a thought there's something wrong with everyone? Because again, we have made up these words right and wrong. So actually, we're going to do a couple different turnarounds here and play with them and see. Let's play with first a direct opposite. If there's something wrong with me, is there's something right with me. So where can you see a couple of examples, again, that are true to you, there's something right with me?
Taking my belief that there's something wrong with me, but still forging ahead and doing the lives and wanting to play a bigger game and go bigger, even though my limiting belief in my ego is trying to sabotage me.
Okay, great. There's something right with me that even though I have this thought running, I'm still doing it, which is awesome.
Yeah.
And I wonder if you can put this in, and I would offer to you too, let's just say all these things are in the past. Like some of this is languaging of like, in the past, my limiting beliefs were sabotaging me. This is how we start to train our mind to shift out of things. Because if I say my limiting beliefs are sabotaging me and keeping me from, creating my dreams, then I'm affirming it in the present. So a good way of communicating with yourself is to say, in the past, my limiting beliefs were sabotaging me, because in the past can mean a second before. Do you see? But we want to be like, that's the past, and the future is like, we're not in that place anymore. So I just encourage you to start really framing everything as in the past, these things were, in the past I had these thoughts, but they're not current. Because again, like it can be a second ago is the past. So, but these things that there's something right with me. So what about in your hearing experience? And I'm just calling it not even a disability, because again, that's a human form that has created this word that it's separate. And what if it's all just part of the human experience? Some people have hearing, some people don't. Okay. Some people have sight, some people don't. Some people have one leg, some people have two, like whatever. We have created this separation, the human form in our society. So this experience of hearing that you've had, how is that even there's something right with you in your hearing experience?
The first thing that comes to mind is it allowed me to overcome challenges that if I had no difficulties hearing, that I might not have even gotten over.
Wow. That's huge, Kristin, right? If your soul came in wanting to overcome these challenges, and then you had to have this experience of hearing in order to do it, or you're right, you wouldn't have ever overcome it. Because all of us have these challenges and opportunities that we're faced with in our lives that are specifically for us. So I'm built exactly as I need to be for my challenges and opportunities, as you, Kristin, are built exactly for your perfect opportunities and challenges. So if one of your challenges was to overcome, let's say, self-doubt, which, it's part of this journey for you, is that, your soul's like, cool, then I'm going to have this experience of hearing, and I'm going to have to overcome self-doubt to rise above, to really be able to help people and spread my message. And that's huge. So there's something right with you. You're right on track. This is your soul's journey. And look at what you're doing. You're spreading your light and your message to so many people that need it, which is extraordinary. Okay, cool. So let's play with this a little bit differently. There's something wrong with me. We switched it around to there's nothing wrong with me. And you found things that are true there. And then we switched it around to there's something right with me. And you found things that are true there. So I said something a little bit different. I want to play with this a little bit to kind of really switch it of there's no wrong or right with anyone, because we're framing it like there's something wrong with me, there's something right with me. But what if there's no wrong or right with anyone? Could you see could be true for you in that, if there's no wrong or right in anyone?
I'm exactly who I need to be.
Yeah. And do you believe that?
It's a struggle.
In the past.
It was a struggle.
Yes. Can you see that in everyone else? Can you see that everyone is exactly who they need to be? Yeah,
I can see that in everyone else.
So if you can see that in other people, then you can see it in yourself. You wouldn't be able to see it in other people. So let's say, what's an example of someone in your life if you're like, that person is exactly where they need to be?
Yeah.
Can you think of someone?
Yeah, a friend of mine. She's another Zumba instructor, and she's where she needs to be with Zumba, and she overcame that to be where she is now.
Okay, great. So can you turn that around to yourself? Like, just take your thoughts about her and literally turn it around to yourself and think, I'm exactly where I need to be, who I need to be.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that.
Okay, good. So the next step in this process is to do we've done some turnaround. So we basically asked if the thought is true, yes or no. We've asked, how do you feel and how do you respond when you think that thought? And we've gone through that. We've asked, who would you be without the thought? And then we've done turnarounds on this thought of there's something wrong with it. We found things that are opposite and still true. So can you see now that thought, there's something wrong with me, how it's just simply a not true thought?
Yes, I can see that. I can see that. It gets blurry once in a while. Oh, it got blurry once in a while, but getting clearer.
Yeah, and that's the thing that we want to do. We just want to start to inquire these things, because once we can slow down and inquire, then they have less of a grasp on us. Because when you really look at the opposites of there's nothing wrong with me, and you found things that are true, and there's something right with me, and you found things that are true, then that's where the thoughts start to shift. And that there's nothing wrong with anyone. There's no right or wrong with anyone, because everyone's exactly who they need to be, where they need to be, when they need to be. That's when we can really start to shift this and really see that this thought of there's something wrong with me, it's only been here because it has brought you to this point, to see that, to open yourself up to the thoughts that there's nothing wrong with me and there's something right with me. And again, to overcome this self-doubt that has come along with this. So the next steps we're going to do, we're going to pause for a moment, and I'm going to tell our listeners about some awesome shows that are on this Fun for Life radio station. And then we're going to come back with Kristin, and we're going to do some self-forgiveness. I'm going to walk you through a process of self-forgiveness to really help shift out of these old beliefs. That's really cool. But I just want to thank you so much for your courage and your vulnerability and your honesty today, Kristin. I'm so loving this time with you. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you for the opportunity.
Oh, you're so welcome. So we'll be right back, and we're going to dive into the self-forgiveness, which is a really, really healing, beautiful healing process for Kristin and for all of you listening. I want you to walk through it with me. But for now, I want you to take advantage of our other awesome programs here on Fun for Life Radio. We're part of the Dash Radio Network, which is an awesome channel with all kinds of other music and stations. And on our station, Fun for Life Radio, there's a couple shows I want to tell you about. Relationship Renegades is with my friends Rachel and Emilio, and they are an awesome couple and are so delightful to be around. They have so much great advice. They interview awesome other guests on their radio show called Relationship Renegades, and they just got engaged. So they are like a super couple. So be sure to listen to that. And my friend Jack C. Merrick has a show called In Love with Jack C. Merrick. It's on Wednesday nights at 7 p.m. PST, and it's all about love songs and heartbreak songs and makeout songs and sexy songs and all kinds of good stuff. So you'll totally love that music hour with Jack C. Merrick. And also check out Hollywood Unfiltered with Dana Buckler. It's another behind the scenes. It goes behind the scenes of the entertainment business of Hollywood, which we all love to hear a little bit of behind the scenes in Hollywood. Okay, we will take a short break. This is Fun for Life Radio. And this is Rock Your Life with Arian Alexander. We'll be right back.
Fun for Life Radio. Just keep taking chances and having fun.
Okay, and we're back. I'm your host, Arian Alexander, on Rock Your Life with Arian Alexander. And I'm with the delightful Kristin Sweeney. I've had such a great conversation with you today, and we've really walked through these beliefs, these thoughts that there's something wrong with me, and we're going to move into some self-forgiveness to really shift out of these beliefs, because part of this process, Kristin, is starting to inquire, like we've done for this time together today, inquiring around these thoughts and beliefs and really getting underneath the hood and seeing that they're not true and shifting them into something more, loving and compassionate and powerful for you. And the second part that I love to do is self-forgiveness, because self-forgiveness is such a powerful tool. Most people think forgiveness is this. I forgive, Amy for hurting my feelings because she called me a bad name. That's not actually forgiveness. That's still making the other person wrong. And basically, self-forgiveness is understanding that it's only my judgments against myself or the situation that cause my upset. It's only my own interpretation or buying into a belief of reality that has created my own upset around it. So what do I mean by this, Kristin? When you have bought into the belief that there's something wrong with you along the way, and then again, you've played it out over and over on the record groove that says there's something wrong with me. At some point along the line, you just bought into that belief. So with self-forgiveness, you get to forgive yourself for ever having bought into that belief in the first place. So how it looks is I literally say, I forgive myself for buying into the belief that there's something wrong with me. I forgive myself and forgiving myself for the judgments against myself. Do you see the pain comes in my judgments against myself and my judgments against others? So I forgive myself for judging myself as not good enough. I forgive myself for judging myself as there's something wrong with me. I forgive myself for judging myself as sabotaging myself. So I'm not saying I am these things or I do these things. I'm forgiving myself for the judgment around these things. Because the thing happens, I think sabotaging thoughts about myself. And you said it. You said, when I think the thought, there's something wrong with me, I feel terrible about thinking the thought. So it's not the thought, it's your judgments itself about thinking the thoughts. So it's I forgive myself for judging myself for feeling terrible about this. I forgive myself for making myself wrong for thinking this. Whatever these judgments are that come up within you against yourself, this is what we want to clear out, because this is where the freedom comes. This is where the expansion comes. This is where the healing is. So does that make sense? You want to forgive yourself for ever having bought into the belief that there's something wrong with you. You want to forgive yourself for ever having bought into the belief that you're not good enough, that all these things are just not true. We all have just bought into these beliefs. So does that resonate with you?
It does. It does.
All right, so I'm just going to walk you through this process. And again, if you're listening, I want to walk you through the process too. So just close your eyes and take a deep breath in and relax. Just take a deep breath in your heart and relax in. And I want you to just really invite in this process of self-forgiveness so that you can free yourself. So say, I forgive myself for buying into the belief that there's something wrong with me. And you can say it out loud for now since we're on a radio show. So go ahead and Kristin, I'm just going to let you go through this yourself. But I forgive myself for buying into the belief that blank. And let anything that comes up about anything that you've bought into a belief about yourself, and just say it as you want to say it.
I forgive myself for believing that I'm not good enough. I forgive myself for believing that I'm different.
And I want you to say, I forgive myself for buying into the belief. Do you see? Because you just bought into it. So let's really clear it that way. I forgive myself for buying into the belief. So that I'm different, that I'm not good enough. What else?
I forgive myself for buying into the belief that I'm not worthy enough.
And what about your judgments against yourself? I forgive myself for judging myself as blank.
I forgive myself for judging myself as not normal. I forgive myself for judging myself as different. I forgive myself for judging myself as not enough.
Great. And just imagine this light coming through the top of your head and to the bottom of your toes and just clearing out any of this stuck energy and these old beliefs and these judgments against yourself. And just know that spirit, life, universe, God is just here flowing this light through you, reminding you of who you truly are. And just feel that wash over you. And then open your eyes and tell me the truth. And I want you to say it like this. The truth is, I'm good enough. The truth is, there's nothing wrong with me. However you want to say it in your words. What's the truth about who you really are, Kristin?
The truth is that I'm worthy. The truth is that I'm good enough. truth is that I'm not different.
And what about something wrong with me?
The truth is that there's nothing wrong with me.
Yeah, and how does it feel to say those things?
Enlightening.
Because this is who you really are. This is your spirit on this planet. And to claim that and say that and own that is very powerful. So moving forward, so first of all, really, I just applaud you for your vulnerability and your honesty today. I'm so proud of you and I'm so grateful for you. And moving forward, I like to think of what's courageous action steps that you can do in service to strengthening this part that is the truth of who you are, that you are good enough, that you are worthy, that there's nothing wrong with you. So what's a courageous action step that you can do in service to anchoring this into yourself?
I guess just getting my voice out there more and to prove it to myself.
Yeah,
that I am.
Well, the good news is you don't even have to prove it. You just have to live it. You just have to think the thoughts around it. You don't even have to prove it because it will continue to evolve. And this is why I encourage you to take courageous action steps because it helps anchor it. So I have an idea for you. You want a challenge?
Lay it on me.
Oh, I love it. She's so courageous. I love this lady. Okay, good. So I encourage you to do a Facebook Live today. Don't wait till Monday. Do it today since we've just had this, session today. And I would talk about this process for yourself of, you're like asking, like, have you ever thought there's something wrong with you? Because everyone has thought there's something wrong with them. And you have a powerful story to share. You can share part of this process today of like how you've shifted your thoughts around it or how you have thought that was true for a long time, but you're really seeing that it's not. Because your voice, your power, this is what you're doing. You're spreading this message of inspiration through your own journey. So let people in on the journey. Because once they see the journey, they're going to be like, holy shit, I can do that myself too. If Kristin can do it, I can do it. So how does that sound to you?
It sounds good. It doesn't sound frightening like it would have before.
Awesome. Oh my gosh, cool. Tag me in your Facebook Live. I can't wait to see it because this is how you're going to continue to bust through this and live in this truth that there's nothing wrong with you, that you're totally good enough, that you're fully worthy. We're all worthy. We're either all worthy or we're not. None of us are worthy. So this is exciting. So tag me so I can cheer you on. I love you so much, Kristin. I'm so proud of you in this journey that you're on. I'm so glad to be on it with you. And thank you so much for being here. And then tell me, just before we wrap, what's a one or two ahas that you've had from this time together today?
The fact that it's all judgment within me, and I'm not different. I'm worthy. I'm bigger than my judgments.
There you go. Get a freaking bumper sticker of that. I'm bigger than my judgments. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for sharing that. That's huge. The judgments are within yourself. You're not different. Either we're all different or none of us are different. We're all worthy or none of us are worthy. I'm bigger than my judgments. This is huge. So happy for you. Conversation with Kristin was so powerful. And I just wanted to point out a few things that I learned from this with her and that I see in so many clients is, like I said at the top of the show, that basically kind of all of our issues boil down to a few things: that I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, what will people think of me? All these, all the challenges and issues that we have can kind of be boiled down to a few different beliefs in our head. And really, once that you understand that it is all judgments and it's thoughts about the things, then you can start to clear them and observe them in a different way and be in your life in the observing. Instead of thinking it's real, you're in the observing of, oh, there's that thought again, that I'm not good enough. Isn't that funny? Because right now it probably seems really real to you. But the opportunity is to shift out of thinking it's real and into the observation and the clearing of ever having bought into the belief that you're not good enough. So I am a big fan of the work of Byron Katie. Again, go to byronkatie.com or thework.com, and it's 4 simple questions. I have a background of a master's degree in spiritual psychology, so I use all kinds of different tools in my toolkit to work with clients. And if you're interested in anything more, if you have any questions for me, or again, would like to be a guest in conversation, in a coaching session, just DM me on Instagram at Ariane Alexander, and I would love to chat with you about being on the show. Okay, thanks so much, and I'll see you next time.